Hello, hello. I see everybody is here. There are so many people here, and I'm going to take a look and make sure that that you can hear me, because we always run into this situation where you can't hear me because I forget to turn my microphone on, which I did this time. Hi, Susan. Can you hear me? Let's make sure that you can, just because we know me. And then I'm going to introduce myself a little bit to those of you who may not already know me. Because we always run look at that. Look at that. Sound is there. So hi, guys. Hello, everybody. My name is Manessa Konecki, and I am the one-woman show that runs Direct to Success. I am also a LuLaRoe mentor. I also run a bunch of businesses and have been in business or managing businesses for the last 20-some years, and I am no stranger to burnout. So today we're going to talk all about burnout and how you can avoid it, what are the signs of it, and what are some of the psychological things that we have going on in our heads that actually make us more prone to burning out and put us into this like burnout cycle where we basically are constantly draining our reserves and filling them up and draining them and filling them up so that we feel like we're constantly depleted. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to tell you, I don't have all the answers. I will promise you, I don't have all the answers. I really don't. I still suffer from burnout. However, I know how to manage it now, and I know what it looks like so that I can take steps to make sure that I'm not, sort of breaking down every time I burn out, because burnout will happen, but this way at least we can manage it. Okay, so here, hello. No, nobody freaking out. We're going to work on this together, guys. I've got my little phone here thingy. Hi, Marjorie. You know what's awesome is I can actually see here. I can see some of these comments. So hi, Sarah. Hello, Jamie, Anna, welcome. Okay, so we're all sort of, all right, hello. No, okay, so fantastic. Everybody's here. I see you, and I see that a lot of you are suffering from burnout. And so we're all in this together, guys. So let's start by, this is kind of weird because I'm actually just using my the left-hand side here of the Be Live screen. So I'm kind of still navigating this. I think I'm going to try to make it a little bit easier for next time for me. Okay, in terms of just this thing on the left-hand side so that I can see all the comments. Fantastic. All right, so let's get started. Okay. First, let's talk a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about the signs of burnout first. Okay. And the reason I want to talk about the signs of burnout is so that you guys can start to get an idea of what it is that you're looking for when you are when you're burning out. The first is that I gotta move this over. Okay. One of the first signs of burnout is that you start to feel tired all of the time. Okay. And the reason that you feel tired all the time is because you are slowly depleting your energy reserves. You know, you wake up in the morning, you start working, and mentally you're working even when you're not. So you spend time, in the kitchen, you're cooking, but even when you're cooking, your mind is working on your business. Okay. So you're back there and you're like thinking of things. So your mind is really never getting a break. Okay. When your mind never gets a break, it has no time to rest, because think about your muscles. Right. So when you go to work out, everywhere you go to work out, people say you got to take a rest day. You've got to give time for your muscles to heal. And what ends up happening is that if you don't, you damage your muscles. The same thing happens with your mind, body, and spirit, in that if you are not taking time to heal your mind, body, and spirit, then it has no way of recovering. And what you end up doing is you end up straining your mental and emotional resources even more. And then you feel like you're not performing at your highest level, because you know you aren't, because you know what your highest level is. So you're like, okay, fine, no big deal. I'm going to work harder. So you work harder, depleting even more. Who in here saw Aliens? If you saw Aliens, you know what? Give me some hearts if you saw Aliens, okay? Because those of you that saw Aliens, the second Aliens, all right? The reason that I want to bring up the second Aliens is because if you saw the second Aliens, there's this scene in it, no spoilers, and it's also like 30 years old. So at this point, there's aliens. Not many people have seen it. Okay, there's this scene where basically, so this won't resonate with a lot of you, but there's this scene where, Ripley is, driving through these aliens whose blood is made of acid. Okay, and so she's using this huge tank to do it. And she crushes all these aliens, and the acid comes out and it eats through all the rubber on the wheels of this tank that she's in. And so what ends up happening is the wheels stop turning. And now she's slamming on the accelerator to get it to keep going, but she's just grinding metal because the wheels can't get any traction on the ground and she's stuck. And I feel like that sometimes, like I feel like I'm just grinding metal. I'm not getting anywhere. It's almost as if you took the rubber off the tires of your car and got in it and just started hitting the accelerator. Like your car would try to move, and so the wheels would just like burn metal on the road. And that's what it starts to feel on the inside. Like you're just like I can't control my anxiety level because I feel like I'm running so fast all the time and I don't know how to stop. Right. Okay. So that is, and because you don't know how to stop, you get tired and you're overly fatigued. It's like you get up, you go to bed at night and you're like, oh, thank goodness, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to feel so much better. Right. But you wake up and you find that you're still feeling as tired as you did, sometimes even more tired than when you went to bed the night before. And so you're like, well, now what? Like, because I mean, when you're younger, you're tired, you go to sleep, you wake up, you feel better. That's the process that we've all been taught, right? So when that doesn't work, it's like, that's supposed to be working. Hello, is this thing on? Like what's going on? Okay. So a lot of people are feeling this, right? So and what comes from that is that you end up feeling, now you're feeling more anxious, okay, and you're more tired, and it sort of starts to compound upon itself. And then when you get too tired and too anxious, you can't sleep, right? And so you're up until 3:00 in the morning. You're like, I'm getting to bed at 10:00 tonight. The kids are in bed. I'm totally going to get to sleep. I'm going to do this. Yes. And you get into bed, and then you're like, any minute now, sleep will come. And you're like, okay, I'm not going to sleep if I'm anxious. So breathe. Okay. Try to think about something else. Okay. I'm going to think about something else. You know what? For me, I create stories in my head. I'll create a story in my head. Okay. That's what I'm going to do instead. And then that doesn't work. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to put on psych because that makes me laugh or good. It's something to distract my mind. But now all that happens is 3 psych episodes later, I'm still not asleep. Right. So now you can't sleep. Now what ends up happening when you get to the tail end of this, okay, is that you, I understand that. That's Jenny. I'm with you 100%. Jenny says that her anxiety is so high that she feels like she's spinning drunk most of the time and she has nothing to show for it. That is exactly that's totally it. Like you just feel like I'm working all day long, but nothing is happening. Okay. And then the last sort of stage at this point, which is when I recognize, usually I'm starting to recognize the signs a little bit sooner. But once you start to realize you're in that cycle, then the final sort of stage before you burn out and just collapse in on yourself in a nervous breakdown is you start to overreact to little things. So the other day I fell in a parking lot and I injured my knee, and that sucked because I don't like to, obviously I don't want to be hurt, but I sat down and I just like, usually I was like, oh, swear word. And then I got up and usually I would get up and then just like stumble my way to my car because my car was like 20 feet away. But instead, I remember, like, I mean, this was only last week. So, of course, this is so vividly remembered because it was last week. But, remember in sepia tones. If only I had a sepia tone filter in here. So I sat down, like I fell and then I sat down and I just burst into tears and started crying. And I was just sitting there in the middle of Mount Holyoke College with these kids walking by, just crying with a projector in my arms and like just bawling because I was just like, I just can't deal anymore. I'm done. And I cried for a few minutes, and Syra was on the phone with me, and the phone had gone flying, and she's still talking because she clearly didn't hear me go, oh, bleep, right? And I'm like, and so now I'm angry with her because I'm like, how dare you not notice that I injured myself? And so I like freak out and I'm like yelling at her. And then she's like, oh my gosh, you're okay, whatever. And so it all worked out. But anyway, you start to overreact to things that are not, you're disproportionately reacting, and you're just kind of like, you know what? I'm going to be better. I'm going to do better. Today is going to be better. But then something happens. Like I'm seeing you guys typing things about your kids that are like, they're doing something normal. And you're just like, shut up, even though, that's not the person you want to be. Okay. That's not who we want to be. None of us want to be this person. Okay. But yet we are this person. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that we are trying to, achieve too many goals at once. All right. So first thing I want to do is I want to share with you Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Now, this is from another business that I run. It's my leadership coaching business. This is my funnel freebie, but I need my Dr. Pepper. That's what happens when I get anxious. I need my Dr. Pepper. Now Maslow's hierarchy. So now a lot of people have some people have sort of, they disagree with Maslow's philosophy, but I tend to be a very strong subscriber to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which is that he established that people have some very basic needs in their lives. And if they are not met, then they can't move to the next level in terms of development. And people are fluid in between these things. So it's not like you have one need and it's met and now it's met forever. So in this case, your first set of needs are your basic set of needs. Okay, these are the set of needs that mean you need to make money so that you can feed your family, so that you can eat, food, shelter. Those are your most basic needs. And if those are not met, then you won't go up to the next level that becomes like the next more important thing. So I guess it should be like levels of importance is where the way what to say it properly. These are the levels at which things are important to you. So once you have found security and safety in your finances and income and things like that, and your business, then you move up to the next, which is the security. So now you know it's going to be secure for the long term, right? That becomes the next level of importance. So the first level of importance is I just got to have this stuff. The next level of importance for you is making it so that it's long term. Okay. After that, it is once you feel like, okay, I'm a stable person, I have food coming in, I have shelter, I can take care of my family, and I know I can do this in the long term. The one after that is I need to feel a sense of belonging as part of a community. So that's where you start to move out into, building relationships with other people in church, in your community events, things like that. Because now at this point you are stabilized. So you're willing to take some time and to give of yourself to the community, because you can't give of yourself to your community if you're so scared that you aren't going to be able to feed your family next week. Right. So before we can feed our family, before we can take care of the community, we need to take care of ourselves. Going back to that horrible analogy that I really hate, but before you can, take care of before you can help someone else with your mask, on the plane, you put your own mask on first, right? This is that same sort of philosophy. And then after that, it is importance. Okay. So now at this point, you want to be valued. Okay. So as part of your community or what have you. And then the last step is self-actualization. So when all of these other things are met, that's the point at which you start to think about things like, I should spend more time meditating so that I can learn about myself and get in touch with my inner person. And I say that facetiously, but the truth is we all do that. Like I do that too. That's when I read my books about big magic and start with why and, all of these other things because at this point we feel like we're secure in the rest of our hierarchy of needs that are now met. So the next level of our hierarchy of needs is self-actualization, where we're trying to better ourselves. Now, when everybody was making tons of money in LuLaRoe, everyone was at the self-actualization phase, okay, which means that we could help other people meet their various hierarchies, like wherever they were in their stages, we could help them because we had reached that point where we were safe, we were secure, we had a community, we knew we belonged, we were important, and now we wanted to give to others, right? So that's sort of how that works out. However, what's ended up happening now is that because we are struggling in our businesses because of, a lot of the things that I talk about, which is not knowing our target audience. So we don't know who we're broadcasting to, trying to sell to all of the same people, trying to work through Facebook algorithms when they're not necessarily, don't worry, Lauren, it's coming. This is me setting the stage. Not necessarily, there's a lot of reasons why our businesses are not doing the way as well as they could. But the thing is this is not a LuLaRoe issue. This is actually a direct sales pattern. It happens with just about everyone who is in direct sales or starts their own business. Is basically the whole thing that I talk about in my target audience training, which is that you start with your warm market. You go into people that into your community. And then after you hit the edge of your warm market, you don't know how to get new customers. So now you're just selling to the same little group over and over again. And they've already spent all of their money with you. So they don't have any more money to spend. So they're maintaining with you and they're spending little bits of money, but it's not enough to sustain your business. And so without expanding, right, and knowing how to reach those customers outside, your business starts to recede and become smaller and smaller. And this is a universal across the board, regardless of what business you're in. People who start businesses on their own rarely think about working their way outward and what they're going to do when their warm market dries up, right? And so because they don't think about that, when it does dry up, they hit a wall and they're not sure what to do, which is why I created the target audience course in the first place, was because I really wanted people to know that now is the time. It's never too late, but you have to start branching out into your target audience outside of your customer base, outside of the people you already know. Otherwise, I can predict pretty much down to the date when you're going to go out of business because it is that predictable. Okay. And so all of us are feeling those fears because that's, we can see the same, we understand what's happening. And the great news about this is though, guys, the great news is that that there are proven methods that you can use to break out of that, okay? So that you can go back to the self-actualization phase. But what has happened is that we were in the self-actualization phase for a while. Then we ended up in a situation where we were fearful for our businesses. So our spirits fell back into needing the basic needs because we needed to feel like we were secure financially and that we had long-term security in our lives, right? So we have now, all of us collectively have gone back to needing our basic needs met. Okay, so we need our basic needs to be met. But at the same time, we're not acknowledging that that's where we're at. So we keep trying to fill all these other needs that we have. And if we don't fill them, we feel like somehow we're failing because we're not focusing on the fact that this is where we're at in our hierarchy of needs, and we need to figure out how to meet those needs first before we're going to be able to go further on and help other people or self-actualize or do any of these other things. And we're trying to do it all at once. So the first thing that I want to encourage everyone to do is give yourself permission to be at the need level that you're at. It is okay for you to say, I can't self-actualize today. I can't read a book about how to feel awesome about myself because today I need to make money in a certain way. And I don't need to feel terrible because I'm not going to a certain training. I don't need to feel terrible because I can't go to, this convention or leadership or whatever it is whose purpose is to self-actualize. Like, unless you need it for, financial reasons, because of the bonus points and whatever, but if the reason that you're going is to self-actualize and you're not sure that you can afford it and you're making yourself feel guilty because you feel like you have to choose between two things, I want to tell you that though it's very important to self-actualize, it's very important to invest in your personal and professional growth. I think that is one of the most important things in the world to do. At the same time, it doesn't serve you or anyone around you for you to punish yourself for recognizing that you may not be in a place right now where that is something that you are able to do. So give yourself permission to do that without feeling like you're less than or that you're not doing good enough, because you're acknowledging your current situation so that you can then figure out where you want to be destination wise and so that you can get there. Okay. So the next thing I want to talk about a little bit, and I need to move to my next slide here, which, I need to figure out how to do that without, there we go. Okay. All right. So it's one of the reasons why we all struggle with our burnout issues is that we do not take care of ourselves. Okay. I hear from so many of you, and I do this myself. We don't eat right. We don't sleep right. We don't exercise. We don't meditate. We don't take any time off. We don't take vacation time. We literally do nothing for ourselves. Every single thing we do is in furtherance of our business, to the point where now I'm guaranteeing that you sleep your business, you wake up and you're thinking about your business from the moment you wake up. You are thinking about your business till the moment you go to bed. It's not just LuLaRoe though, Shireen. It's actually a lot of other businesses are like this until you figure out the system that works for you. Now, some people, and I'm glad Shireen brought this up, because for some people, it's because they're not in the right business for them. Right. And so maybe like Shireen runs an amazing salon, like beyond amazing salon. Like I've seen pictures of it. She's fantastic. She's so good at what she does. That's where her passion was. And her and I have known each other for a really long time. And, we talked about that towards when she was transitioning out of LuLaRoe into her business, was that it wasn't right for her, that for her. And I remember actually, Shireen, some of the earlier conversations we had, that she really was excited about her salon business, but I can't recall it exactly, but I know that the end goal for you was always to get back into that in a more stable way, which she ended up doing, and is doing a fantastic job. Because for her, LuLaRoe wasn't necessarily right for her, right? And for other people, it might not be either. For some people, it is, right? But in the end, it's about figuring out what business is right for you. Now, right now, if you're in, let's assume for the moment that your business is right for you, because that's a whole nother conversation of career coaching that is not part of this training. You need to be willing to prioritize yourself, okay? And I cannot stress this enough. I know that it feels like when you are taking time, no, Cynthia, it's not just poor time management. I'm going through the long list of things that what causes burnout. And number one reason for women especially is lack of self-care. I would bet that of all the people watching this right now, there are only a handful of you that take time out of your day to meditate, to exercise, to sleep, to, I'm trying to think of the other things, to socialize, to do things outside of your business. Okay. And what's funny is this, is that when you, I know, well, you're clearly not, most of us aren't. I clearly do not, and I'm working really hard on that. I'm really working hard on prioritizing myself, because if you do not, your business will fail. I'm telling you flat out. And I'm not even saying it might, it could, it will. And it will fail for a number of reasons. The one reason it'll fail is because you will become so burned out, you will hate it, and you won't want to do it anymore because you'll just hate it so much. And you'll want to do anything else except for that. You would even rather go back and, sweep floors at Target rather than do whatever your current business is, because you do not take time off to take care of yourself. The second reason is, and you all are probably seeing this right now, okay? This is so weird to me in terms of how this unfolded, but in retrospect, and when I tell you this, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, of course it did. And that's how I felt when I figured it out. I was like, oh my gosh, of course it unfolded this way, right? When we first started, okay, in our businesses, all we ever did was talk about our business, right? Now, if you're in direct sales, okay, it's a little different from when you start your own business, okay, because when you start your own business, you're by yourself and your community is still your community. But what happens when you start a direct sales business is you become cocooned in the direct sales business. So for example, I'm going to use Cynthia as an example because her name is the one like showing up right here, which is that, hold on, somebody here, there we go. Lisa, I want to share your comment. Is that we start in direct sales, right? And then we start hanging out with the other direct sellers. Okay. So then we start talking about direct sales all the time, whether we're with somebody who does direct sales or not, we end up talking about it all the time. Then because we're constantly trying to get our businesses better, we're constantly talking to our peers, our upline, our downline about the business. And then before you know it, you discover that you have no friends outside of your direct sales business or that are not other direct sellers. Okay. So now your entire circle has become direct sellers. That people around you, you're not sure how to engage with them anymore because all you can think about is your business. You have nothing else to talk about. And your community starts to get smaller and smaller and more isolated until suddenly the only people that you have in your sphere are direct sellers. The only thing you can talk about is direct sales. And honestly, you become really boring. Okay. I saw that happen to myself 100%. I'm like, my gosh, I am so boring. This happened last May. Okay. Last May, I realized I had nothing to say to anybody outside of LuLaRoe because all I could talk about all day was LuLaRoe. That's it. And it wasn't a bad thing necessarily, other than the fact that I had no other interests. I wasn't cross-stitching. I wasn't watching television. I wasn't socializing with my friends. I wasn't going out and doing escape rooms. I wasn't playing World of Warcraft. I wasn't even playing Hearthstone. I wasn't doing anything other than LuLaRoe. That literally was the only word that ever came out of my mouth was LuLaRoe, LuLaRoe, LuLaRoe. Okay. And the reason that happens is because as you start to fear for your business, okay, you start to do it more and more and more, and then that just becomes your whole world. It is so important for you to take time out of your business, okay? Now, this is where, and one other thing before I move forward, what ends up happening with that, by the way, is that now you can't even increase your circle organically because you have no place to meet people. Because now your whole circle is here, right? And the only way for you to meet people is to do other things. The only way for you to expand your mind, to grow, to learn, to be interesting to yourself and other people is to be doing things other than whatever it is your direct sales business is, not just be a direct salesperson. So take the time, rediscover your old hobbies. If you really like quilting, find a quilting circle in your community that you can go hang out in. You don't have to the purpose is not for you to make best friends. The purpose for you is to take some time out of your business to do something else that is interesting to you and to other people so that you can start to relate to people on a level outside of your direct sales business. Just going to look to see what I here. I actually want to do Shireen. I want to do Shireen's. There we go. That was Shireen's comment. Yes. Okay. So it's definitely all right. So I just want to make sure. Yeah. Okay. So Jenny says she's a stay-at-home mom because so it's easier for her. Okay. So I'm moving backwards. Okay. So yeah. All right. So now you are going to get scared. Heather hit the nail right on the head. You're going to get scared because you're going to say to yourself, I'm not actually running my business. I'm not working my business. This is money. I'm not making money right now. Okay. But if you look at what you do in a day, you'll find that most of the time you're not making money. Okay. Most of the day you're not making money. You can schedule out your day so that you don't end up having to spend your entire day with it. Now, this particular training is not about that. This particular training is about recognizing the signs of burnout and doing things outside of your business to build yourself. There will be plenty more trainings where we'll talk about targeted ways to save time, because there's plenty of ideas. And I do have some ideas today in terms of prioritization, but I really wanted to focus today on impressing upon you the importance of taking time off for yourself. Taking time off to meditate, to do yoga, to exercise your brain, read a book that's not related to your business, that's not related to direct sales. You will find that you are a happier person. You will find that you are feeling less of the signs of burnout, and you will find that you have more to talk about with your community in your VIP group, because you're doing other things, because your VIP group doesn't want to hear about your business all the time either. They want to get to know you as a person. But the only way for them to do that is if you tell them who you are as a person. But if who you are as a person is basically what you do for your house and your business, there's not a lot to talk about. So this helps you to add other things to your repertoire, but you have to do them first. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing that we feel when we go out and do things that are outside of our business is we feel guilty because we're not working our business. However, I disagree. And the reason I disagree is this. Is because there are two facets to your business. The first is your selling facet, right? Which is, hi, here's my item. You want to buy it? Yes, thank you. Here's the money. Great. Bought. Done, right? The other facet of your business is the other facet of your business is what is the other facet of your business? Oh, yes, outreach. The other facet of your business is getting new customers to come in, right? And so when you want new customers to come in, where do you find these new customers, right? Where do you find these new customers? The only place you can find these new customers is either online or doing things outside of the house where you meet new people, not to sell to them, where you meet new people who will become your friends, who will ultimately ask you, what do you do? And you're going to tell them what you do, and then they will ask you more about it, right? You're making new friends in the real world. Now, I'm not a real world type person. Okay. I'm not the sort of person who says you can only have communities in person, because I'm an online person. Everything I do is online. So for me, when I say go out and socialize, I don't necessarily mean you have to go out to the world and socialize. You can go out and socialize in groups too. You can go to a Facebook group for World of Warcraft, join it, talk in there. You can go to a group for underwater basket weaving and go and talk there. You can be parts of online groups as well. It doesn't have to be going out into the world, like I'm going to get up, get in my car and go out, though if that's what you prefer, you definitely can. It's really more about cultivating different interests that are not related to your direct sales business. Okay. I just want to look at this. Okay. Shireen, that's such a good point. So it was setting the boundaries. That was your thing. And it is hard. So Tina, if you're an introvert, which I am, by the way, you can easily use the online as your methodology. So again, it doesn't have to be in person. It just has to be a way, something outside of, and even if you don't want to socialize, that's cool too. But do something that's not business related. That's really the message I'm trying to get across, is do something that is not related to your business, so that you are expanding your mind and expanding your interest. And so that you have a mental break from your business. It will actually make you better at your business in the long run. Okay. Now, I want to just really quickly punch this URL up here. Okay. Agenda item. It says I have a call to action, but I'm not going to do that. Okay. So this is going to be reclaim your schedule. Okay. So what I want is, I want you all to go to this URL. Okay. And I want you to fill out the form that's there. And I want you, I should have had this ready before. Okay. I want you to go to this URL, and that's weird. I wanted to show me the URL too. Are you going to show me the URL, or like weird? It's not showing me. It's not scrolling the thing. That's kind of annoying. Or maybe you can click on it. I don't know. Can you click on the reclaim your schedule thingy? If not, I'll just go and do it this way. Okay, we're going to hide this one, and we're going to do add a new agenda item. Okay. That's going to be the title. Bam. There you go. There we go. Okay. So go to this place, reclaim.directtosuccess.net, fill it out the form, download you'll get an email from me, download what that document is. Okay. That document is going to help you with your schedule. It's going to help you to overcome the signs of burnout. It's going to help you overcome feeling burned out. Okay. That's a tool that I put together to help you reclaim your life. Okay. So you should be able to, go figure. That's good to know, Katie. Okay, so I'm going to keep that up there for a few minutes so you guys can get to it. I'll find a better way to do it next time, but for now, that's what we're going to do. Okay, so you know what I should have done? I should have done it as a comment. All right, so I want you to go download that. Come back here and let me know when you downloaded it, okay? Because this is going to be something that will really, really help you. All right, so you want to find time to do things that are outside of your business, okay? The next thing that you all do, and I say you all, but I mean we all, okay? We all do this, okay? We all do this. We do not set boundaries, okay? Oh, you know what's funny is it's still only showing signs of burnout here. Weird. Huh. Okay, well, I'm just going to bring that down. We're just going to talk about it then. Okay. So the next thing that we do is we have failure. Sorry, I'm still learning the software. We have a failure to set boundaries. Okay. And what that means really is that we don't set boundaries with anyone. We don't set boundaries with our friends. We don't set boundaries with our family. We don't set boundary with our customers. We don't set boundary with with ourselves. Okay. And then we get upset when people break those boundaries. All right. I talked the other day about friending your VIPs, right? So friend your VIPs, invite your VIPs to be your friend. And someone said to me, well, how do you keep them from getting angry with you or PMing you in the middle of the night and then not being happy and being unhappy when you don't respond right away? And for me, I am at a stage now where I have my boundaries set. Okay. So people know that I'm like, that I'll answer you as soon as I can, that I'm not forgetting about you, but that sometimes I'm not going to respond. Okay. I'm going to respond the next day or the day after because I set those boundaries, right? And I set those boundaries by just not responding if I'm not ready to respond. That's how you set boundaries. I don't have to explain to you why I'm not, though I will when I finally do, or I will say, hey, listen, I'll get back to you later. But and everybody's okay with that. Nobody has ever said, oh no, I need you to get back to me right now. Everyone's always like, oh yeah, I understand you have a life, what have you. You set boundaries by determining for yourself what those boundaries are. And part of the problem is that you don't have clear boundaries set for yourself. Okay. Thank you so much, Bethany. And what I mean by that is, and I really should have actually done it that way. So that's wicked smart. So see if I do it this. Well, she already did it. So you don't need me to do it. What I mean by that is this. Okay. You'll say, I don't want my customers to message me in the middle of the night. So you'll put that on your pin post. Then a customer messages you in the middle of the night. What do you do when you see it? You immediately feel anxiety. You feel like, oh, I really need to respond. So you respond to them because you don't want to upset them. You have just now taken that hardline boundary and grade that area up. Okay. So even though you told them what to expect, you gave them something different. So now they'll expect something different, which means that the next time they PM you and you don't respond in the middle of the night, they're going to be upset because you set those expectations, even though your pin post says otherwise. Okay. Yes, I will take care of pinning it so you can click it at the end. And it should also be in the description up above. So if you click on it in the description, but you'll set boundaries, but then you won't stick to them. And I've seen it happen time and time and time again with other retailers and with myself. I will set boundaries. I am not going to work after 8 p.m. Suddenly 8:05 comes, somebody sends me a PM. Oh, okay, no problem. I'll help you. Now, this person would have probably been fine if I hadn't gotten back to them until tomorrow, because I said I wouldn't be able to get back to them until tomorrow, because I say that very clearly. I may not be able to get back to you for 24 hours, right? I'm very clear about that. They know that. But yet I am the problem because I say I have to message them back, okay? So you need to make that decision for yourself, okay? You'll be able to find the message again, Mary. There's plenty of ways in which you can find the message. You can put systems in place, mark things as unread. Like, you can always put systems in place to prevent that. Fear is not a good reason to not set boundaries, because you will end up hurting yourself in the long run. So the thing to do is, instead of saying, I don't think, and for me, Mary, I have the same thing. I'm worried about losing my messages, right? So what I do is I'll just mark them as unread, and then I will go to my desktop and just have it show all my unread messages. And I know that those are the ones that I need to deal with first, because those are the people that I said I would respond to, or that I haven't responded to in the 24 hours. Okay. But you have to decide for yourself what your boundaries are, and you have to be willing to stick to them. The problem with boundaries is that we set them and then we don't stick to them, and then we get upset when other people don't respect our boundaries. You have to respect yourself and your time enough to respect your own boundaries. Okay? That is the most important thing you can do. You have to literally respect yourself enough to say, these are my boundaries, and I respect myself too much. I respect my time, my mental health, and my energy too much to break those boundaries. And then everybody else will fall in line around you, and they will, and it will be fine. And yes, you're going to have some people who are going to be upset, and they're going to run off and scream and yell, and that's fine. But for the most part, people will understand that you have a life. People will understand, and they will respect you for having boundaries. And you will send the same message to your team. Because part of this problem is, and this is something that I learned when I was teaching leadership at an executive level, which is that a lot of executives will tell their employees, they'll say, you should have a home life, you work your hours, and then go home, and then I want you to disconnect. Okay? And they'll do that, right? But they won't do that. So when they go home, they're still working, or they stay late. Now, though that's, of course, at an executive level, you need to work, you may need to stay late or whatever, but if your employees see you staying till 6 or 7 o'clock, and then the senior executive, the people who are senior under that employer will start to feel like they need to do that as well, it sets a culture so that the words are go home and have a life, but the actions are you better stay here and work, right? And that sends a very poor message. So I would work with managers to learn how to go home, do all the work they needed to do, schedule all of their emails to send in the morning so that everything got sent out like at the time that it was supposed to, so that it sends the right message and leading by example to their employees. The same thing holds true for you and your downlines. If you're telling your downline to have boundaries and respect their time and not work after a certain time, but then you are, right? The message that you are sending is that you, and if you don't enjoy it, okay, that's the key thing. The message you're sending is that you, you should take time off, but I'm not doing it, which means they're going to follow your lead and they're not going to take time off either. Then your team is going to suffer from burnout. People who respect you will suffer from burnout. Now, there are people who love to work. I love to work. I don't know what I would do if I wasn't working, right? But I too have started taking time off. So you'll find that there are very specific hours of the night where you won't hear from me. Okay. You won't hear from me at all. So at around 6:30, I stop working, and then I spend some time with my husband, and I'll, we'll hang out a little bit, and then we'll eat. And then while he plays his video games, I'll work a little bit more. But then around 10 o'clock, I will shut down. And for the most part, after that, I'm just hanging out. I try not to work after 10 p.m. anymore. I'll just do my thing, and then I don't work again until the morning. I may answer a few PMs here and there, but for the most part, I'm sort of disconnected. I'm not working on anything major, not creating any major content. I kind of stop after that time. Cynthia only respects herself when she's mad about something. That's awesome. And you're right. Your customers can't see invisible walls. So those of you who are saying that you have methodical reasons why you don't go back to your messages, that I would encourage you to find a system that works for you that mitigates that. Because at this point, you have two choices. You either burn out or you find a system to work with it. That's really your only two options. So you have to figure out for yourself, okay, you can make the decision and say, I'm okay with burning out. And that's totally fine. That's a valid decision. But just know that those are going to be the consequences. So for those of you who have logistical issues, Google has amazing ways in which you can, to help. And if not, sooner or later, I'll come up with something. I'm actually going to add a suggestion box at the top of the business strategy group so that you guys can give me ideas of things you want to learn about or things you want, so that I can just put together tools to help you. But in the end, that's what's important, is taking time for yourself. Okay. And sorry, is failing to set boundaries. All right. Now, after that, okay. So one of the other things that we tend to do a lot is we tend to try to tackle everything at once. Okay, everything all at the same time. All right, it's insane. So basically, we have this long list of everything, and we're like, I have to do all of it at once. Now, just before this meeting, I was 100% guilty of this. A bunch of emails went out to people who bought the Target Your Audience exercise course, which, yep, see, I just got an email about that too. So I got, and the emails went out. They're supposed to go out 7 days later, giving people 10% off of the next step in the training course, right? It's a 7-day coupon. Well, the coupon email went out to like 10, 15 people. There was no link to the order form, and the coupon wasn't working. Okay, so clearly this is a problem. So I'm messaging my programmer about it. At the same time, my financial advisor calls me and he wants to talk about my financial plans for my 401k and, tax issues and blah, blah, blah. And so I'm trying to talk to my programmer. I'm trying to talk to my financial advisor. And as I'm doing it, all I can think of in the back of my head, the third thing I'm working on is, oh, how ironic. Like, it's so ironic that I'm about to teach on this. So like, even though I recognize what I'm doing, I knew what I was doing. And I'm like, this is going to, like, I could feel my heart rate increasing. I could feel my anxiety level increasing. I could feel myself. But yet I felt like I was helpless to stop myself. So I turned my chair that way and started talking to my financial advisor and just ignored my programmer. And then I turned back around when I was done and worked with my programmer, because I recognized that I was trying to do so many things all at the same time because that's a good idea, Mary. Because I knew that I wasn't going to do either one particularly well if I tried to do them both at the same time. We all have a lot of things to do. So part of the Reclaim Your Schedule, Reclaim Your Life link that I posted earlier, reclaim.direct-to-success.net. Okay. Part of that, did that even, oh, wow. There we go. Oh, I was like, where is it? Oh no, that's on screen now. Haha, sorry. The Reclaim Your Schedule thing will give you, it's a mindful, I use the methodology of mindfulness to identify your schedule, figure out what's going on in your day, and then let's talk about how to prioritize. So that's where we come into this tool. Okay. So this tool that is included in the Reclaim Your Schedule, and you can go download it now, reclaim.directtosuccess.net. When you click on that link, it should take you to a page, reclaim.directtosuccess. Let me just make sure that is Reclaim. Yep. Okay. It should take you to a form. Yep. That you fill out the form. And when you fill out the form, it'll send you the tool. Okay. Just making sure it actually did do that. Okay. It should send you the tool. So just scroll down and say you're ready for the form, and then fill out the form, and then it'll send you the tool. And the thing that's awesome about this tool is that it is broken up into 2 steps. The first step is cataloging your day. What do you do in a day? And it's really granular, because so many of us spend a lot of our time thinking that we're working when we're not. And so, how many of you go on to Facebook, right? And you're like, I'm going to build my reputation on Facebook by commenting on a couple of people's posts. So you go to your newsfeed and you start to comment, and then suddenly it's 2 hours later and you haven't done anything, and you're like, and you've commented on a bunch of things, but you're like, oops, have I done any work? Why did I come here in the first place? What am I doing? And that happens to me all of the time. Okay. All the time that happens to me. I'll go in and it'll happen within like 5 minutes. Okay. So in like 5 minutes, I'll go in and I'll have forgotten why I'm there. And then suddenly it's like 45 minutes later. That is not working. Okay. That is not working your business, but you think it is because you are on Facebook, building your business on Facebook, right? You could have easily taken those 5 minutes, done what you needed to do, and then you would have had those 40 minutes to spend running or meditating or exercising or hanging out with your children or walking your dogs or whatever you want. And you would have had the same impact on your business as you did spending those 40 minutes on Facebook, right? The impact on your business from those 40 minutes on Facebook was probably 0. The impact of you taking that time to go walk is immeasurable right now. Okay. So take time, mindless scrolling. So take time. So take the time to spend on this Reclaim Your Schedule thing. Really, really hone in on it. It's for 1 week. All you do is catalog. All you do is catalog and practice mindfulness in your activities. You don't have to change anything. All you do is catalog and reflect on the day. Catalog, reflect on the day. That's it. And when you're done with it, you go back and you look at your daily reflections and you say, what did I actually spend my time on that felt good? What did I spend my time on that I dreaded, that I was like, I want to throw up. I don't want to do this, right? For me, there are certain things that I hate to do. Like, I just hate to do them. And like, I feel like posting on a business page for me is, I don't know what it is. I have this mental block about posting on a business page. It makes me just angry. I don't know why. Like, even thinking about it, I'm like, ooh, I don't have to do that. Like, it's so silly. It's so silly. But yet that's how I feel about it. Okay. I can't help how I feel about it. It's how I feel, right? Many of you, yes, be mindful, bring the force in, let the force flow through you. But we all have things like that. Okay. We all have things like that. And what we do is, and here is why mindfulness is important. I now can recognize when I am trying to find things to fill the space so that I don't have to do the thing that I don't want to do because it gives me anxiety. So I will waste 2 hours doing nothing related to anything in order to avoid doing something that will take me 5 minutes that I will ultimately end up having to do anyway. Or I won't do by the end of the day, and then I'll feel badly about myself and berate myself for not having done it, and then I'll repeat the cycle the next day. Being mindful of this helps you to change the way that you interact with the world. It helps you to change the way you interact with your activities. It helps you to be more productive because you start to spend the time being productive instead of trying to avoid doing the things that you don't want to do anyway. Okay. So that's why the mindfulness thing is important. And then the next step of it is Eisenhower's prioritization matrix. Now, Dwight Eisenhower, he was one of the most productive men in history. And he came up with a matrix, which I have hanging up there. I've actually been using this matrix for about 20 years, maybe 15. It's been between 15 and 20 years I've been using it. I have printouts of it everywhere. I have it in my email. I created my own in the spreadsheet. Like I literally stand by this particular tool, and it is invaluable in terms of determining what you really do need to and not to do. And so then second step of the training is just for you to figure out, okay, what are the things that I really have to be doing? And what are the things that I say I need to do, but I don't really need to do? Like the mindless scrolling on Facebook, or if somebody brings you an issue that says it's an emergency, is it really an emergency? Eisenhower's matrix will actually help you to figure that out. So it will tell you whether something's urgent. Is it important? It's an amazing, amazing tool. He basically categorized everything in his life that way, and you can too. So that basically you're going to stop wasting time doing things you don't need to. You will know exactly what's important and what you need to do. Okay. And then the next thing that you do as part of this time management series is making sure that you are really only committing to doing 3 major tasks in a day. Okay. 3 tasks. That's it. All right. I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but that is actually all you can reasonably expect to complete in one day. All right. And why is that the case? The reason that's the case is because you have 800 things that will come up during the day that are going to need your attention. And they take away from the 3 things that you have assigned yourself to do in the day. What most of us do is we say, I have 8 hours in the day to work, or 10 hours or 16, or however many hours it is that you work. And you make the list of things. You're like, I can fit 12 things in today because I have that many hours. But from the moment you wake up, there's one thing after another. You end up at noon and you realize you haven't even started your list. So now you are contributing to your burnout by feeling more anxious that you haven't tackled anything on your list, and you still have these 12 things to do. So now you have 12 things to do on your list. You're at noon. Your day's already started. You're already shot. You're already 4 hours behind. And you're like, well, this sucks. I know I'm not going to achieve what I set out. And so now you're already feeling like a failure. When you start to feel like a failure, you start to feel more burnt out. Your mind starts to feed upon itself in terms of the negativity. And then you just start to feel worse and worse. And you end up in a downward spiral of negativity and self-doubt that contributes to your level of overwhelm and burnout, right? Because you are overestimating what you can get done in a day. Experts say that you can really only get 3 things done in a day. All right. So really, when you look at your daily list for the next day, make sure that you're only putting 3 things on there, because you've got to account for your trainings. You've got to account for responding to people on PM. You've got to, you have to account for so many things. So make sure, and children, like, exactly, there's so many distractions. So really, exactly, you just want to throw it out the window. So what I recommend is have one master list, okay, that you just keep adding to. I have one master list that I just keep adding things to, right? And I add it to it without emotion. No emotion. I just add things to the list, okay? And then every night I just go through the list and I say, what are the 3 things that I need to get done tomorrow? I look at my calendar, I see what date it is, and I'm like, okay, I need to get these 3 things done for tomorrow. And I just take 3 off. I have 2 in reserve just in case I finish the other 3, but those 2 I never intend to get to. I never actually intend to do those 2 things. My goal is to just do those 3. Okay. What you do by that is, 1, you set yourself up for success from the second you wake up in the morning. If you only have 3 things to do, the distractions don't bother you as much because you're like, I only have these 3 things to do anyway. It's fine. You get a lot of things done during the day that are not on your to-do list. So don't diminish that. Okay. It's important to recognize that you do these things, that they're important. Okay. So don't diminish that. And then, okay. So I'm looking at this. Oh, exactly, Jenny. Exactly. So so what you want to be doing is you want to have those 3 things. Okay. So you've decided these are the 3 things. And then if you finish those, if by some chance you finish those, then you can tackle one of the other 2 sort of bonus items. And each day that you're never, ever make those bonus items part of your 3. Like, oh, well, I did bonus items 4 days in a row, so I'm just going to make it that I can do 4 things in a day. Nope. It's always 3. It is hard and fast rule. Do not change that. It is set in stone. The additional 2 are literally just that. They're always bonuses, which means that any day that you get to those bonuses, you can just be like, man, I totally killed it and I bonused it. And any day that you only get to the 3, you can be like, man, I totally killed it. I did all my 3. That's it. There is no, oh, well, I'm going to add 4, then I'm going to add 5. Nope. 3 and 2 bonuses. And the 2 bonuses are ones you never expect to get to. If you do, sweet. If not, no big deal. Okay. Be conscious of the fact that that is okay. That is how human beings work. I'm not pulling these numbers, out of my butt. Like, these are actual numbers that, people, and so I've actually been using this philosophy for the last maybe 7 or 8 years, where basically I just have 3 things on my list of things to do for a day, and that's it. And anything else I get done is a bonus. Anything else. And you will find that it will help your mental well-being extremely. Okay. Okay. So, Stephanie, you'll find, I think that it's going to be a lot easier once you do the reclaim your schedule exercise, because you'll find that there's maybe a lot of things that you're spending time on that you may not necessarily want to be spending time on. And then I have a few last thoughts here. Okay. And the few last thoughts on this are this. So first things I want to say, okay. So just remind everyone, you can get I will post a link to the reclaim your schedule, but download that. Okay. For sure. You'll fill out the form, and I'll put it up here again. You go to this address, click on the button there, you put your email address in, it will send you the document to download, or a link to download the document. You reclaim your schedule for 1 week, you do the cataloging. After that, you can look at it more in terms of a schedule basis. Yes, keeping kids alive is always a bonus. Okay. That is going to be your first step towards reclaiming your schedule. The last part is going to be really mindset related. Okay. And by mindset related, I just mean that it's important that you recognize this. Okay. That we often lose track of our why. And I know that because LuLaRoe is so gung-ho on the why, people can start to get eye-rolly about it and be like, oh my gosh, I don't need to know my why. But the fact of the matter is that LuLaRoe aside, this is actually a fundamental business practice that we should all be doing. It doesn't matter what business you're in. It doesn't matter whether you're in direct sales or not. It doesn't matter whether you're in leadership. It does not matter what you're doing. We all need to know what our why is. When we lose touch with our why, everything becomes a panic. Everything becomes a situation where you don't know what you're doing. You feel frazzled because you have no unifying thread to hold you together. Your why is more than just words on a paper. Your why is the thread that binds all of your activities together. It's what holds your business and your family and your relationships and everything together in a braid. Your why is the tie that binds. It's why you do everything. It's why you get up in the morning. Okay. And we lose touch with it because we think it's frou-frou-y. And I am a solid 100%, such a green. You have no idea how green I am. Like, I have no blue in me. And I am telling you that knowing my why is the reason I get up in the morning. Every morning I wake up with the thought, how can I help business owners today? That's literally how I wake up. What can I do to help people and make their lives easier today? What can I do? What tool can I come up with? What training can I do? What resource can I find? That is what I get up for, because my goal is to make sure that no woman ever feels the way my mother did when she died. That's my goal. And I feel it so strongly that it gives me momentum. It gives me hope. It gives me strength. You guys give me strength. When I feel like I can't do anything and I can't do anything right, I go to one of you and I say, what can I do to help you today? Because that is what gives me strength. And that's what makes my life better, because that is my why. And you need to know your why so that you have a person to go to. If your why is your children, when you doubt why you're doing what you're doing, go hang out with your children. Go sit with them. Do a puzzle with them. Don't feel like that's time you're taking away from your business. That is time you're investing in your mental health so you can be better at your business, and so you can be a better mom and a better wife and a better sister and a better mother, a better everything. And so you are so welcome. And so thank you so much, Katie. But you guys are the ones who are actually amazing, because you're the reasons why I do what I do. Like, I wouldn't have a why if you guys weren't out here. So thanks for being here, because you guys are what make my why possible. So know your why. If you don't know your why, You can get the book by Simon Sinek called Start With Why. Read through it. I think there's a lot of quick and easy ones on the internet that you can look for, that if you don't want to read the whole book, get the audiobook. He has a delightful accent that you can listen to for hours. So that's always a good one too. Oh, thank you, hon. But you know what? You that's one of the reasons, though, Stephanie, that you need to get in touch with your why, because your why is what will keep you going in your business. Your why is what will get you out of bed in the morning. So now the last thing I want to say before I head off to my training is this. I need to figure out how to say this properly. I want you guys to challenge yourselves to let go of your preconceived notions of who you think you should be, of what you think you should do, of how you think your business should run, of how other people think your business should be, of how other people think you should be. I want you to let go. Pull an Elsa and let it go. Okay? Let go of what you think should be happening. Okay? The reason that so many of us suffer from burnout is the difference between what we think should be happening and what is happening. Okay? That is the key here. The biggest key of everything at all, is the difference between what you think should be happening and what is happening. And most of our days that are spent feeling like we are the worst human beings on the planet, the worst mother, worst sister, worst business owner, worst salesperson, worst everything. Okay? The one of the major reasons that we spend most of our day feeling like we're inadequate and unable to complete the simplest of tasks that we set for ourselves is because we feel like we should be, insert statement here, and this is where we are. Okay? And so Nancy, you're hysterical. So what I want you to do is I want you to take the mindfulness exercises. And I feel like I may actually do a training on mindfulness in general, but I want you to take your mindfulness exercises and I want you to apply that to your general day-to-day life. And instead of thinking about all the things you should be doing, should is I should, right? So now this is an indication of what should be happening in the immediate future or you should be doing right now. Instead, provide yourself with love and acceptance of what you are doing. Okay? What actually is, period. What is, okay? My father so growing up with my dad, and he has always been a little bit loopy. Okay. And I say this, I'm not trying to, I realize as I said that might come off sounding like very, very, condescending of people who have mental illness, which I'm absolutely not. So I apologize for however that may have come out. That's how I described my father. Okay. So that is how this is my father. This is not people with mental illness. I have a mental illness. I suffer from extreme anxiety and depression. So please know that that's not meant disparagingly at all. What I, and just doing that, I feel nauseous that I did that. So I apologize. But what I really mean is my dad is actually loopy. And when I mean he's loopy he spends a lot of time in Tibet and Sri Lanka and Nepal with monks and frogs and just various spiritual endeavors. And it's amazing. And he comes out and he talks very, very slowly and he'll sit back like this and this is how he listens to you. Right. And then the thing is, right. And then he'll start talking and my dad always does that. Okay. That's just what my dad does. Okay. So my whole life, this has been my life. I'll talk to him and he'll be like, the thing is, all right. And then he'll say something profound. Okay. I don't know what the profundity is, but he'll always say something profound. Okay. And my whole life, he has been telling me it's all about perspective. It's all about being in the moment. It's all about all of these other things. Okay. What it ultimately came down to though is, and this is the message, I think, as he's gotten older and spent more time with the monks in Tibet and Sri Lanka, which I think his movie on them is coming out soon. He said this to me. He said, he's always like, it is what it is. Right. And a lot of people say that that's like what true leaders and true entrepreneurs should never say. Right. And I agree to some extent that you have to always be looking for the future and you always have to be looking to get better. But you also have to better as everything that you're doing. But you also have to take a minute to appreciate that it is what it is. We are who we are, and we're always striving to be better. But being better means appreciating how good you are now and appreciating how good you can be in the future. It doesn't mean disparaging who you are now, disparaging what you're doing now, disparaging your business now to hope that you can be better in the future, right? So there's a big difference between just saying, I accept myself. I accept who I am now. I accept that this is what I'm doing right now. This is where I am in my business. This is where I am in my life. This is where I am in my schedule. This is where I am in terms of what I'm capable of doing in a day. And that's okay. And I know that I want to be over here, but I can appreciate that I've accomplished a great deal in where I am right now. I don't have to be there now. I can be there tomorrow. I can take a step to get there tomorrow, but I don't have to take that. I don't have to be there this instant. As long as I'm taking steps to walk me in the general direction that I need to be going in, and I can appreciate every step for what it's worth and every moment for the learning that I do, then you will find that your burnout is going to be less because you are no longer berating yourself or diminishing your accomplishments because they're not what you thought they should be. You will find that you're no longer not setting boundaries because you're no longer afraid to set boundaries because you're afraid of what could happen or what might happen. You'll find that you are now more appreciative of the moments you have, and that will translate into every part of your life. It'll translate into your work. It'll translate into your children, to the time you spend with your kids, to your exercise. It will translate to every aspect of your life and your business, okay? I want you to know that it is okay to be happy with who and what you are doing right now, knowing that you're not sitting in complacence. You're not saying, well, this is who I am, so guess I'm just going to chill. No. You're saying, this is who I am, and I love who I am, and I'm in the process of loving who I am, and I am in the process of building myself into who I know I can be tomorrow and the day after and the day after. I don't have to be her right now. You don't have to be her now. You just need to be knowing where you want to go, the steps you want to take to get there, and give yourself permission to do that. So my parting thoughts for you are this: be kind to yourself. If nothing else, be kind to yourself and be mindful of how you treat your day. Be mindful of how you treat your activities so that you are no longer, you're not adequate, you're growing and improving, so that you can appreciate the journey for what it is. And I know that sounds all frou-frou-y coming from somebody who is not a blue, but I have found as a green that is actually the most efficient way to get there. So regardless of how I feel about, oh, you were so welcome, Heather. I'm so happy I was able to help. Just know that this is not a blue thing. This is not an emotional thing. This is literally me saying as a green, that's the fastest way to get where you want to go. And I am all about the fastest, most expeditious way to get to wherever it is I need to go. I don't have time to spend doing other things. So no, as a blue, this will emotionally help you. As a green, this is the most effective way to do it. As a gold, this is actually what you should be doing because that's what all the experts say you should do. And as an orange, you're going to do what you want anyway. So you may as well try this one too because, and I'm a green orange. So like I feel with both. So as an orange, you're going to do what you want anyway. So you may as well try this one too, right? For those of you who are replay warriors, hashtag replay warrior. If you have any questions, I have to go to my training now, but if you have any questions at all, absolutely feel free to just put them on this and I will respond to them over the course of the day as I, have time between my various trainings. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I am going to be around tomorrow on the business strategy group only, not on the direct to success page. So if you're not in the business strategy group, please join it for a Q&A about your businesses. So whatever questions you have about your business, it's an ask me anything. You basically just ask your questions and I will answer them. I will see you guys tomorrow at 1 if you're in the business strategy group. Otherwise, go and reclaim your life from your business. Bye guys.